On October 17, 2025, President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskiy met at the White House, a meeting that could reshape the war in Ukraine and redefine America's global strategy. From Tomahawk missiles to Trump's surprise ceasefire proposal, this conversation went far beyond polite diplomacy. Let's break down what really happened and what it could mean for the future of the war. In the weeks before the meeting, Ukraine had been pleading for more advanced weapons, especially long-range Tomahawk missiles. Zelenskyy's message to Washington was simple: if we can strike Russian launch sites, we can stop the attacks on our cities. But Trump, returning to office with a focus on America first, had made it clear he wanted to reassess U.S. military spending abroad. According to Reuters and the Associated Press, both sides came to this meeting with very different goals. Zelensky wanted escalation in defense, while Trump wanted de-escalation. The talks began mid-afternoon. Cameras captured smiles, but behind closed doors, sources told Axios the mood was tense. Zelensky presented detailed maps, data on Russian attacks, and a direct request for Tomahawk cruise missiles. Trump's response was cautious. He reportedly asked, "If we give you these missiles, where does it end? Do we risk nuclear retaliation?" Instead of approving the request, Trump offered a proposal: more defensive systems like Patriot upgrades, but no long-range strike weapons. Then came the line that changed the tone of the day: both sides should stop where they are. That single phrase, reported by AP News, was interpreted as Trump calling for a freeze in the war, effectively recognizing Russia's current territorial control. Ukraine came hoping for a turning point. Tomahawk missiles would have allowed Kyiv to strike deep into occupied Crimea or Russian staging areas. Instead, Zelensky left Washington with promises of radar systems and defensive aid, but not the offensive tools he asked for. Speaking later to reporters, he said, "We respect the decisions of our partners, but Ukraine will continue to fight for its independence." A polite statement, but clearly one of disappointment. After the meeting, Trump doubled down on his message. He called for an immediate ceasefire, urging both Ukraine and Russia to stop where they are and begin peace talks. Critics in Washington and Europe quickly reacted. The Washington Post argued Trump's statement could lock in Russia's gains and weaken Ukraine's position. Meanwhile, his supporters praised him for trying to end a costly war and avoid nuclear confrontation. For Trump, this wasn't about abandoning Ukraine, but about shifting focus from open-ended war to negotiated settlement. The Kremlin welcomed Trump's remarks immediately. Russian media described it as a step toward realism, while Putin's spokesperson said Moscow was open to constructive dialogue. In Europe, reactions were mixed. Germany and France urged caution, while Poland and the Baltic states warned against freezing the conflict. For Ukraine, the message was troubling. Without U.S. offensive support, the war could stagnate at enormous human cost. So what does this meeting really tell us? It shows the gap between Kyiv's urgency and Washington's new caution. It marks the start of Trump's push for a deal, even if it means stopping short of total victory for Ukraine. Whether that's a step toward peace or a step backward depends on what happens next. But one thing is clear: this White House meeting just redrew the political map of the war. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, subscribe for more in-depth global news coverage and tell us in the comments, should the U.S. support a ceasefire or keep sending weapons to Ukraine?